What are we looking at?
A squid person. A telekinetic cloaking squid person, and you are not going to convince me of another thing.
Floating jellyfish UFO haunted U.S. military base in Iraq for years, says former U.S. Marine intelligence analyst, shown infrared video by colleagues. So ex-Marine broke his silence on a 2017 UFO that became ghost story of the base. Ex-Intel analyst stated that the theories that we had didn't fully explain it. Former intelligence analyst with U.S. Marine Corps has revealed how a jellyfish UFO terrorized military personnel for years in Iraq. Here's the Daily Mail again. Video emerges showing what looked like a craft with dangling appendages gliding invisibly over a secure facility. It could only be seen on infrared cameras.
So this is actually one of the videos I was referencing last week, and I just could not find.
I'm glad I found it for you.
Absolutely.
Really freaky. And as we get into the story reads like a ghost story. It's weird. So, I mean, it looks like some sort of floating jellyfish thing. What's really weird to me is I don't see any movement on it. Like, if it was like grocery bags or a balloon, you would expect parts of it to move, right?
But it is stationary, almost as if superimposed onto the...
Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. So on the top there it says Jeremy Corbell. Jeremy Corbell's done a lot of UFO documentaries. So it specifies here that looked like a craft with dangling appendages gliding invisibly over the secure facility where it could only be seen on infrared cameras. That's very specific and interesting. It could only be seen with infrared cameras. So you're talking about like night vision
cloaking technology.
Cameras. Joins years of new UFO cases, including a giant red cube, zipping Tic Tacs, and allegations made under oath about secret and illegal crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs. We've covered a lot of that already. It kind of just ended up being like the ghost story of the base. Michael Kunkowski, then stationed at a base in Iraq, told cable channel News Nation last evening. It didn't seem to be posturing to threaten us at all, Kunkowski said, but added that the base was not taking any chances during this highly unusual time encounter. And today, Sinkowski revealed that he has heard from a fellow Marine team member who saw multiple recordings of a jellyfish UAP with different durations in Iraq. Different durations, I'm guessing different lengths of time?
Yeah, different video length. It almost looks like it was visible to the naked eye and then cloaked itself right there, like, whoop.
Well, and what is that an effect of? I mean, so presumably infrared interacts differently than the visible light spectrum does when it shines on an object. So if you were to have, say, a transparent window and you were trying to film with an infrared camera outside your window, so you have your camera inside and you're trying to film out the window, that really doesn't work because the infrared reflects off the glass back into the camera, because usually there's an infrared light source being projected out from the camera. Yeah. So is it possible here that what we're looking at would have been there but transparent to the naked eye, yes, like a physical object, but was more perceptible on infrared vision? Like you might have been able to see it if you had looked carefully. It was just transparent.
That is exactly what I'm feeling is happening here. Okay, so this does not look like a ship. This looks like squid aliens, telekinetic squid aliens.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I knew you'd love this because it gets into the cephalopod thing, right? Or these cephalopod alien race living under our oceans.
I don't know. It almost looks like one of those little Star Wars like robot things that like roll with a weird head.
So this looked like a tweet from Sinchowski This morning, I spoke with a former team member who was with me in Iraq back in 2018. They wished to stay anonymous, but they confirmed that we actually had multiple recordings of the jellyfish UAP with different durations. This is apparently the News Nation segment about it. Some of the Marines were tasked to try to find it on night vision, he said. They were looking for it with other sensors and had. Kowski also revealed that he had seen a 17-minute version of the thermal imaging video which tracked the unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UFO, let's call it what it is.
It's a UFO.
Yeah. As UFOs, I like how they say UAP and then UFO. As UFOs are now more accurately known.
I don't know about that.
As it appeared to glide over the base toward Lake Hibernia? Hibernia? In Iraq's Abnar province?
Okay, hold on. It's going towards a body of
Anbar?
water.
Anbar
It's a
province?
It's a squid person!
Was it going toward? What do you mean it's going toward?
Towards lake, gliding over the base towards a lake.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They were watching it to make sure that it wasn't a threat, said Sinchowski, who'd been an intelligence surveillance tactical controller at the base in an interview with journalist Brian Enton of News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas report. Former Marine told Enton that the infrared video was captured in 2017 and has been shown to him by fellow SMC servicemen arrived at the base in 2018.
Oh my god, this lake is right next to Fallujah.
You just look it up?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Sinchowski told Enton that the leaked video had been taken with an aerostat, a blimp-like craft equipped with cameras and other sensors out for potential threats over the base. Tethered aerostat radar systems. So yeah, if you don't know what an aerostat is, it's a tethered blimp with sensors on it and lenses and stuff like that. They use them on the Mexican border too. Tethered aerostat radar systems are used by the U.S. military to hunt for drug traffickers, beam U.S. television signals into Cuba. What? Did you know about that?
No.
That's interesting. So they put like over-the-air TV over... Talk about trying to propagandize a population.
That's wacky.
Hey, that's interesting. Beam U.S. television signals into Cuba, conduct reconnaissance, and more, according to the Federation of American Scientists. After 17 minutes, Sinchowski said the jellyfish or spaghetti monster UAP vanished over Lake Hibernia. They couldn't...
That Hibernia seems to be a, anglicized version of that. The actual name is, Habania.
They couldn't find it, Sinchowski told News Nation in a remote interview. They kept an eye out, he said, but it wasn't like we were scrambling to our defensive positions or anything like that. From then on, as the story circulated across the U.S. base in Iraq, the ghostly sighting remained, as he put it, a big unknown. Theories that we had... didn't fully explain it, Sinchowski confessed. Senior national correspondent for News Nation, Brian Enton, reported that the cable network had reached out the Pentagon for comment multiple times over several days.
I think ChatGPT wrote this.
I don't know. They need a copy editor. We were able to confirm that Marine is who says he is, Enton said. They, the Pentagon, acknowledge that we have been reaching out but have not responded with specifics about this video or confirmed the video in any way, he told viewers. Some of these pictures look a little less impressive.
It was submerged in water. Hold on, scroll back up. The UFO was supposedly submerged in water for 17 minutes in the footage before it launched out of the water at rapid speed. They're squid people.
According to Jeremy Corbell, and one of these articles I think more centers around his investigation of it. Submerged in water. What are we looking at?
A squid person. A telekinetic cloaking squid person, and you are not going to convince me of another thing.
What?
Or a person with like a jetpack on.
It doesn't look like a person with a jetpack on. Different angles of the jellyfish UFO show the mysterious entity as it flies over the water of a... According to sources who Corbell reports risked getting it to him. The leaked USMC footage of what some have called the jellyfish craft. I think saying it's a craft is like...
It looks
kind
biological.
of a stretch. It does look oddly biological, right? Was first made public by UFO documentary filmmaker and co-host of the Weaponized podcast, Jeremy Corbell, who does a lot of good work on this stuff,
Yes.
I gotta say. Corbell said that the legitimacy, and we should honestly have followed up with him. Corbell said the legitimacy of the footage was confirmed to him by sources who risked getting it to him. It goes over a body of water. I'm told it stops on a dime, descends stiff into the water, and for 17 minutes nothing, and boom. This thing comes out of the water and shoots off at 45 degrees, Corbell said, describing the object's behavior. Witnesses said that each of the hanging legs on the objects were stiff and unmoving.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Please.
I know. Jeremy Corbell, an investigative journalist and filmmaker, said that the legitimacy of the footage was confirmed by sources who risked getting it to him. That's interesting. Whatever... I'm assuming this is it here.
Assuming I have to make that assumption. It's the only... It looks the same kind of weird scrunchy.
You're looking at this
On the
one?
right side there.
This?
Yeah. It's that white.
Oh, okay. This is it here. They've got it pretty zoomed in. The webpage.
Yeah, I mean, this thing looks biological. It does not look like a craft, unless it's like some biomechanical... like biologic robot, maybe.
I don't know about you guys, but I'd like to see that footage a couple more times.
Yeah.
Bring that up.
I want to see the whole 17 minutes. Where's that hiding?
Okay, so here we are.
Looks like it cloaks.
So this is over a base in Afghanistan. You said it's near Fallujah and next to a lake, and this thing goes into the lake reportedly and comes out at a 45-degree angle very fast. Everything about it is stiff and unmoving. That's what's weird to me, is because it looks like grocery bags or a balloon or something, but nothing's waving.
Not even an inch.
When it totally, like you said, it looks like it cloaks.
That may be some weirdness of the FLIR, but it totally looks like it's like... Okay, now we're seeing a parallax angle here. We're on the back 45 degrees of it instead of the right or front.
Yeah, it definitely changed perspective there.
This thing looks like it's hovering maybe 50 feet off the ground, if I'm reading the vantage point that we're seeing here right. Those trailers are probably like 30, 35 feet tall.
When nobody's reported seeing it with the naked eye. So if it's physically there and it's reflecting infrared, which transparent objects do that, windows do that, they're still unable to see it as it moves over the base. And we're talking about a military base here, you know? Like presumably like a FOB, like a forward operating base.
That's what it looks like. The way it's set up, it's all temporary structures. It's something they set up after they got there.
What's your best guess?
Like, legitimately squid people. I was saying it earlier, like, as a joke, but I mean, it's not, like, this just gives me more credence into squid people, if anything.
I think it's an alien drone.
I was gonna say, I think it's a drone of some kind that's not ours.
But why does it look so biological?
It doesn't move though. It looks biological because you're looking at it from the angle of, well, it looks like a squid.
I feel
But
like
it's
it probably has like camera things hanging down or sensors or something. It doesn't move.
When's the last time you saw a squid that didn't move though?
Yeah, but a hyper-advanced squid might know to not move. Oh, there's people walking around down there. Yeah, hold on, back the video up just a hair right there. They don't react to it at all. This was apparently nighttime footage.
Yeah, a couple people there.
So maybe they couldn't see it through the naked eye because it was nighttime? Possibly?
Marty says it's a Chinese spy balloon. I
Uh,
don't know. I mean, I guess that's
do
possible.
the dogs look at it at all? No.
It
None
looks,
of the animals do. There's like bigger animals that don't look up either.
It looks unearthly to me.
Yeah, it doesn't look terrestrial whatsoever.
I don't think it's biological because it doesn't move.
But it looks so funky and not like design built, but I'm looking at it from a human vantage point, so...
I think it's some sort of drone.
Is it maybe biomechanical? Is it maybe like a biological robot?
That's what I was thinking. Like some Star Wars, like
Well, that's
robot-y type thing. But
that's
it
a-
looks like it has a head.
well, it has some sort of larger body above the tentacles.
Yeah.
It's got like growths coming out of the top of it almost. You see, or are those antennas? Like,
Well, when I say drone, I don't necessarily mean it needs to be a mechanical drone. Like people talk about gray aliens being
drones.
that they're some sort of biological drone created to go about the universe and collect data for maybe what is a biological species that doesn't travel like that. It's a whole lot easier to send a drone to do the job. And maybe what this is... Okay, here's a theory. It's going to that lake. What if there's a UFO in the lake, and this is something that the UFO creates on the fly
Sends out.
to send out...
That's why it took 17 minutes for it to connect back and then
Refueling.
shoot up.
They had that quick charger. Just the things hanging out the bottom, man. That's what wigs me out about this. That...
See, the cows don't react.
I mean, the footage itself could be explained as, oh, this is a balloon or something, even without it being fluid in action. You could probably explain it away like that. But the reports of it going in and out of the water, that really starts to blow your mind. At least it blows mine.
I mean, this video is blowing my mind. The reports, yeah, they definitely add an extra layer, but this doesn't look like any balloon I have ever seen. It's pointy, it's spiky, what? It's got stuff coming off the sides in random, like, nonsensical directions.
Out of all the UFO videos we've watched, this is up there on the weirdness scale.
Is it a demon?
Well, and that's what I was going to say. It's kind of up there with the one that we're like, is it a ghost out in the desert? There was some sort of like spirit orb thing just zipping across the ground. It looked like a hoverboard or something. Is this something supernatural outside the explanation of a UFO?
I'll tell you, the desert's ripe with that kind of nonsense.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's some sort of biological entity that we just have no idea about that lives in the lake. It's a floating lake monster, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, quite literally, that's what it is.
So the lake is apparently very shallow, and it is 54 square miles in area. It is separated very closely to the Euphrates River by another lake. It has been used since antiquity.
So it's not an isolated body of water?
No, there's some other ones around it. It has been used since antiquity for storing floodwater from the Euphrates. Hibernia, Iraq, from celebrity haunt to safe haven among ruins. Once an elite holiday destination, then a refuge for those displaced by ISIS. The resort town is trying to rebuild. Well, it used to be like a tourist destination, like a luxury tourist destination.
Where this thing is?
Yeah, the lake at least.
Huh.
Very specifically. It's only 50 miles west of Baghdad.
Okay, so here's a map of the region, and here's the lake in the middle.
Look at that picture in the top left. It's shallow. Those people are wading like a good almost half mile probably in that water, and they're on their like up to their knees only.
Well, it has a shallow coast anyway. I mean, it's a sizable lake.
Yeah, it's weird. It has like a little beach front.
It's a 56 miles square.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big lake.
Yeah, Fallujah's right there, off to the right. Huh. An airport right next to it? So we're not talking about like an isolated area necessarily.
No, and that makes sense because it's next to the river in the desert. Like if you're gonna live somewhere in the desert,
It's there.
It's there, yeah, exactly. And here's the larger.
I think that's the one that separates it from the Euphrates, from what I understand. Or no, the Euphrates is like right there on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Separates.
Yeah, okay, I misread that.
This is the Euphrates River. Question. Do you see an alien in the lake?
Let's see. I'm looking. Are there any black boxes that Google has put up anywhere? There's a surprisingly blurry region to our direct left.
Right, I was thinking that.
Blood Coast on the left. What's the Blood Coast?
Oh, I see it. Lake. Yeah. Bottom left, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, algae blooms.
Yeah, it looks like algae. Well, and part of me thought that, like, so you know the Portuguese man of war?
Mm-hmm.
Is like, it's many different species kind of come together in like one thing. If you DNA test the Portuguese man of war, it's like I don't know. I'm talking off the cuff here, but it's like 6 different species or something like that.
Yeah.
In one thing that we always thought of as one animal, but it's not. It's not just specialized cells. It's actually different organisms that make that thing.
So are you telling me this is sentient flying algae?
Maybe. That's what I'm saying. What if it's flying algae? Some sort of creature like that.
This is funky, man. Alright, the man of war is described as a colonial organism because the individual zooids in a colony are evolutionarily derived from either polyps or medusae, the 2 basic body plans of cnidarians. Both of these body plans comprise entire individuals in non-colonial cnidarians. For example, a jellyfish is a medusa, a sea anemone is a polyp. All zooids in a man of war develop from the same single fertilized egg and are therefore genetically identical. They remain physiologically connected throughout life and essentially function as organs in a shared body. Hence, a Portuguese man of war constitutes a single individual from an ecological perspective, but is made up of many individuals from an embryological perspective.
Yeah.
A lot of words.
So I think what it's getting at is that the zooids are essentially creatures in and of themselves that can combine to form a bigger creature. And from a perspective of looking at it as an animal in a ecosystem, it may as well be considered a single animal. But for the purpose of like taxonomy and looking at it genetically, it is constituted of multiple organisms in a symbiotic relationship.
That's what I get out of it.
Yeah.
But the whole polyps are weird anyway, jellyfish and polyps, and their life cycle doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
They're not alive. They're not alive.
I don't know, they freak me out.
They're like big giant big squishy viruses, man. Like what?
They're alive. They're definitely alive.
I want to wear that as a hat.
I want to
It
pop.
does look like a good hat. Although it might just sting. It looks like it'll sting you. I have no idea though. Alright, well, what if it's one of these? What if it's some sort of algae bloom jellyfish
It can fly.
colonial organism?
How's it flying? Like, how's it flying?
It's so thin and transparent because it's like a single cell wall thick.
It's just floating along.
like a single
in the
cell
wind.
thick throughout its entire. Maybe.
Oh, maybe it's filled
I mean-
with helium.
There are organisms that are like that, like certain mushrooms or fungi that are basically a single cell thick throughout like an entire forest floor. That would presumably be light enough to float, but you would expect to see movement in it, not it be rigid and stiff, so. I don't know, that's all I got on it.
Very strange.
That's all I got on it. What do you guys think? Anything else?
Ah.
I hope more footage comes up.
Yeah, I want to
can't
see that whole
tell.
17 minutes. I am very curious as to what's up with the rest of the footage. I want to see it come in and out of the water. I think that's the big kicker here, is seeing that.
That would be excellent proof, because it's compelling, verbal eyewitness report, but there's no actual
Jeremy
video
Corbell,
of it.
if you're watching this,
Get it.
release the rest of that
You think
footage.
he's not working on it? He's working on it. Hi, this is Gavin with Dark Dial. Welcome into the CRT. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us out as a channel, and it helps you find us that much easier. If you can leave a comment down below, we'd love to know what you thought about the video. And be sure to check out darkdial.com. We've got a cool forum you can sign up for, as well as links to all of our social accounts on there. Thanks for watching.